Welcome to the new sound of online radio. Welcome to the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network.
'Cause you make me feel like I've been locked out of heaven.
A mix of today's hits and hard-to-find favorites, combined with the most entertaining and intriguing talk anywhere. This is your sound. This is the sound of Universal Broadcasting Network at upnradio.com.
This is April.
Saturday, everyone.
Happy Saturday. How is everybody out there? Good? Good. I felt like I heard a collective, we're good, we're fine, we're okay. Hopefully that's what I heard.
I know, right?
So how's it going, D?
Oh, I'm good, April. Good. Been busy. Staying busy. Working hard.
I know. I don't think I've even seen, I think this is the first time I've seen you this week.
I know, right? Yeah.
And we
Between
usually talk.
you at work, I'm at work.
Right. We talk, 2 or 3 times a day?
Yeah.
And I don't even think that happened.
No, it didn't. No.
Yeah.
I think, we get interrupted, especially when I'm working at the mall, stuff like that. Then I'm like, okay, let me call. Maybe I think about you. I'm like, let me call April real quick. And then next thing I know, somebody comes up or I'm,
I know.
busy with the customer. So, yeah, it has definitely been a busy week.
But that's great. Ouch. I hit
okay?
my hand on the table. But I was going to say that it speaks to how your business is picking up, because I have been at the kiosk a few times. And, when things are slow, you do want to make a phone call or two, because you're just kind of watching, people watching and twiddling your thumbs. You're like, okay. And, hopefully somebody will bite. You're trying to get somebody to walk over. Yeah. But there are those times when you do get people at the kiosk and at the booth and talking to you and coming in, and you don't have time to do anything but help them.
Right, absolutely.
And your head can spin if you have someone behind you asking about a product, then you have to check somebody out.
Right. Yeah, it takes, I mean, it's sales,
that your business is picking up.
It is picking up, and I made some product this morning, and I have, between our mother, and then I have an employee, thank God, that I'm able to hire now that helps me, so I can, it's been a blessing, so the products are picking up. The deodorant is doing very well, so people are really.
Sniff, yes,
people are coming back. There was a woman that has a 15-year-old daughter, and she was having some issues with sweating and things like that at her school. And she bought her the deodorant, and the deodorant is working for her.
All natural
deodorant. And all her schoolmates are saying, "Oh, you smell so good. What are you doing?
Aww.
What's that?" So those things give me such pleasure and happiness, and that I'm helping someone, and knowing what you and I went through when we were in our teens, and now to have teenagers, people who are going through the same issues, feel confident, feel fresh, not worry about, people saying things or talking about you or want to be close to you.
Or just having that excessive sweat.
Yeah, that alone.
You're already going through a hormonal change. And then on top of that, you're sweating a little more than you think you should. And then your peers are sweating, and, it can make you a little self-conscious. So
absolutely,
that's great that at the tender age of 15, you have solved her problem.
Yes. It's just God given.
So grateful.
I'm very grateful. So that's been good.
Good. So we were talking about it before the show. This election,
girl,
what is going on? I mean, is it social media? Is that why we are just so privy to so much information behind the scenes?
Yes.
You know how they always every election, I don't care if it's local, national, whatever.
Right.
They're going to dig up some dirt on their opponent.
Absolutely.
But this one here, it's like bulldozers, okay?
Right. Yeah. It's like grade school, though. I mean, at least on one side, it's all the just the craziness, just the throwing the the names and insinuations and just crazy town. So it's like what in the world? How does it go from intelligent Barack Obama to this crazy, slinging the mud thing. It's unbelievable.
I don't know, and it just saddens me because it's just it's kind of hard to understand this election process.
Right.
I can't even imagine being a history teacher right now or political teacher, and maybe it's very exciting for them to say, what, this is what you shouldn't do.
Right.
I don't know,
Right.
but it just seems like it would be a little challenging to teach them. This is. It certainly is not the poster child for a normal election season,
it's not.
as far
Not
as
at
I'm
all.
concerned.
Not at all.
So it's just a lot going on with that. And then, now with the FBI investigating Clinton's emails again, I guess there's a new batch that they're looking into, and everyone's pointing fingers at each other.
Yeah.
It's just...
Instead of looking at the issues, what,
I still don't know what they are. What they're...
Well, we all
the most
do.
part.
It's our own, getting paid, going to work, feeding our families.
Well, no, that's our issues.
That's
but
what I'm saying. So
they're
they're not, apparently they're not thinking about that. At least one, I know, well, Hillary, just from her history, she mentions it, but Donald Trump is just really ridiculous. Just all about shaming and trying to degrade the next opponent instead of what are you going to bring to the table besides building a wall. You want to build a wall everywhere to keep everybody out. You want to send everybody back home to their homeland, which America is the big melting pot of immigrants anyway. So who are you really sending anywhere?
Yes.
Those type of things. Just the ignorance in it is just really disgusting. And I think we're at a time where we have evolved. We're in the 21st century, for Christ's sake. Where technology has advanced, where our children are smarter than ever. Just so many things that are happening, and you want to take things back to a time where, your separatism, women are, put in a certain place, just need to be at home, that type of mentality, and it's just really sad, and it's unfortunate. I know
unfortunate.
One thing was going around on Facebook. I want to mention in regards to the election, there was a woman on there who she was from the South, and she was voting early.
Oh, okay.
And she said she put a warning out saying that be careful when you vote to double check your machines because they're jumping. It's jumping from Clinton to Trump. So that was that. Yeah. So if you check your Facebook, that's something that. There's a video about it that's going all around.
Where is this happening? Do you know?
I'm not sure exactly because a friend showed me, and so I didn't get to exactly see where it was coming from. But be careful because the election is a week away.
Yeah.
And what's happening is she said she voted for Hillary, and next thing you know, it jumped to Trump. So
she caught it.
And
What
so
about
then
the
she
people who
confronted
didn't catch it?
exactly.
Yeah.
So she's saying beware and make sure you do not leave until you know that you're voting for the right person, and it has been calculated and counted, because she went to the the staff there, and they said, oh, okay, well, maybe we'll check, we'll either collaborate the machines or we'll double check or this and that, but you just don't know who's on whose side, because they can tell you that, but you don't really know who you're dealing with. So make sure, warning, when you go and vote, just make sure, however you're voting, make
you
sure
are voting for the person that you want to vote
and
for.
that it shows up on your ballot. So so that's scary, because
that's important.
Because I think he's at this point, Trump seems to be doing whatever it takes to win, and any means necessary. Seriously, and it's scary.
It is. I agree with you on that. We don't know. The interesting part to me about this whole thing, the way the media is playing a part in it and showing us what they want us to see. I don't know about how you feel about it, but when we were younger, I just feel like, you remember like Walter Cronkite and Dan Rather? It just seems like their news was more like midstream and like, this is the news. This is what is going on. You make your own informed decision now that we've given you the information that we have learned. It didn't seem like it was so much skewed. It's like, nowadays it's like, this is what we want you to know, and this is it.
Right.
And I say that because of what's going on in South Dakota. I don't know if too many people know about the pipeline that they're trying to put through on Indian land. And so there's this huge protest. Wow. I mean, it warrants news coverage. Right. There are millions of people out there defending this land, protesting. There's celebrities out there. They want to put this huge pipeline through this reservation.
Oh my goodness.
And, there's so many legalities behind that we're not supposed to touch their land.
Right.
As America. Right. We're not supposed to touch the certain Indian reservations. And they're trying to put this pipeline right through it. And so there's this huge protest going on. There's millions of people, like I said, millions of people out there. And it's crickets. on the mainstream
media,
news.
yeah.
But it's on Facebook. It's in social media. It's out there. It's happening now. It's happening in our country. It's major.
Right.
But they want to talk about the wiener emails.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
You know,
It's yeah. I think unfortunately this country, with the media, they pick and choose on what they want to put out there. And I think especially social issues and issues that hurt people, of different, the minorities or whatever that aren't as important, or if it's a takeover, anything
who they
capital,
don't think are as important.
Right.
Yeah.
Money, money's a big thing, the power in money. So the powers that be, unfortunately they run certain avenues like that. So it's really sad. And the Indians, Native Americans, it's just like, what else? What? Leave the people alone.
Right.
All of us is like, we're all fed up, really.
Right.
We're all fed up, and it's just time. It's time to take our country back to the way it should be. It's not even taking it back. Take it forward. Excuse me. That's right. Take it forward to where it should be, where it's going, and where it needs to go. So
well, and on another note, it is with the social media and with the cameras, we're seeing all the dirt and all the darkness. It's being brought up to the light, and so we can choose to either keep talking about it and how bad it is, or we can choose to move forward with it and pray and help change it, because we can do it individually, and it starts with us.
It does.
It really does. It's not it starts with us right now, in this moment. So because it makes it hard to even trust. You know what I mean? Like, who do you trust? Do you trust what you...
Right.
Do you trust anybody? Do you trust what you're seeing, reading, whatever? Some people do wholeheartedly, which is the problem. You're not getting the full story.
No.
And you're putting all your eggs in that basket.
Right.
And
It's the cattle. It's the sheep.
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, whatever you tell me, I'll do, instead of stopping thinking for yourself and like, is this right or wrong?
Right.
And how does that feel to you? Instead of just, like you said, it's a matter of trusting.
So I think that's one reason we obviously wanted our guest back on the show,
absolutely.
Delia Ramsey, today. We're going to take a break, but we had to have her back because the last time she was on the show, it was so powerful.
It was.
She's such a peaceful spirit,
right?
But she's so wise,
right?
And she's author of the book that's in front of you. Give us the title of the book.
I Will Empower Myself.
Deidre's been reading that book.
Yes, I haven't been able to really get through it because I'm working, but I take it with me because any moment I have to read it, I open a page and I read it. So it's wonderful.
Yeah, I can't wait to get my copy, but also go through it and find out a little bit more about Delia Ramsey. And she's in the building, so when we come back, we're gonna have a part 2 conversation with her. Please stay with us.
Speak Your Week will guide you through the process of using the power of your thoughts and words to create more positivity and success in your life, day to day and week to week. Written by It's Time to Talk's own host, April Jordan. This dynamic book will remind you of the powerful person you really are and how to use that power to create the life that you want. Want better health, success, abundance, love, and more. Within the chapters, you will discover the kind of thoughts, emotions, and words you should be speaking about the things that matter to you most. Also, included in this book are affirmations to speak each day of the week. When spoken in daily succession, these affirmations gain momentum and can help you on your journey towards the life of your dreams. There's no other way around having the life that you want. It all starts with you. Get ready to speak your week. Available for download at Amazon.com.
Welcome back to It's Time to Talk with Deidre and April. We are so excited, happy, and pleased to welcome back our friend Delia Ramsey. She is the author of I Will Empower Myself, an adult's guide to life. And she also has a teen guide as well. So welcome today our special guest, Delia Ramsey.
Hi, I'm so glad you're back. Welcome back. Wow, it's been a minute. It's been about a month. And you know what? I put this on a post to you, I believe. I was just, after the last show, it took me so long to come down. I was soaring. I was so high. Like the room was so full of love and light. And I just felt like my energy was just raised. Like I was on a higher vibration after the last conversation and leaving here. it was such a great show.
Well, thank you.
So, no, thank you too. I really appreciated that. Yeah. So I'm definitely glad that you're back. And, we were talking a little bit about the elections and Trump and Clinton, and that's not the purpose of this interview, so we won't have you chime in on that. But we'll talk about the issues of trust today. That's something that we definitely want to get into. It's so interesting, though, because when Deidre told me, when we were discussing having you back on, she said, Delia and I were talking, and we were thinking about, talking about trust. And my jaw just dropped. And I'll tell you why. It's because this week I felt like God was just talking to me about trust. I kept seeing the word, first of all. I kept seeing it everywhere. It was in books, or I would hear someone just walk past me and they would say, blah, 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 trust, blah, 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 blah. And it would catch my attention. And I'm very aware when things happen like that. Like, I listen to my angels and I listen to God all the time. So I was very aware and said, okay, God wants me to think about trust. And then this other thing that caught my attention, I went to the bathroom at my home. There was nothing on the floor, clean bathroom, nothing on the floor. And I did my business, left the bathroom, went back in a half an hour later to do something. And I saw a penny on the floor. And no one had gone into the bathroom. And I'm like, where did this come from? And I was thinking, did I have pockets? Did money fall out of my pocket or something? No, I didn't. I had on a dress. And so I just went, smiled, and I picked it up. And when I picked it up, I turned it over, and it was almost highlighted, "In God We Trust."
Wow.
I was like, here we go again. So then right after that, I want to say later on that night, or maybe the next day, that's when Deidre said, oh, we want to talk about trust. And I went, oh, man, here we go.
Yes.
Here we go. That's the way it works, doesn't it?
And you have no idea. Believe me, that's what I was telling her on Deidre one day, is that it was funny because I was walking home one day and something said, we have a security gate, and you have to have a remote control in order to open the garage door.
Okay.
And so something said, say the word open. And I'm like, why am I saying the word open? Because I was thinking, so I said open, the gate open.
The gate open when you said open?
Yeah. And I looked around and there was absolutely nobody around, no cars coming out, nothing. And so, this happens to me quite a bit. So,
really?
Yes. But I also want to say, it's funny that you said on the money, because I'm going to do a great big write-up about this, about in the words, "In God We Trust."
Oh, look at that.
Because if this were the fact, we would have no weapons. Okay?
That's right.
If this were the fact that we trusted God, we would not run people down, we would not call names, we would not criticize, belittle, we would not do anything of this.
Right.
So it's ironic that those words are on a dollar bill, because we do not trust God. And because we think that we have to, the only way that we have power is that we have weapons. And I know it's not about this, but it's about the trust.
Yes.
We have weapons. We have, and then we're fighting people. We're using brute force instead of love to make people move.
Right.
And so it's extremely important that we don't trust God. And America does not trust God, because it would be the first, because we have it on the money, the first country to lay down all weapons and trust God to see what happens.
Right.
Lay them all down, and then let's use love and talk to people and find out what's going on. Right. So, and then allow God to work on the minds of other people in the other countries, lay down their weapons. So this trust goes so deep that people don't realize exactly. They think they're trusting God, but they're not. Right. That's why we worry and fear. If you have worry and fear, you're not trusting God.
Right.
That's number one out there. You have to understand.
Right.
You would not trust. You would not worry and not have fear if you were trusting God. So that's people who say they're Christians. I'm going to set that out there, because you're supposed to be this example.
Right.
So if you're saying that you're a Christian, which is Christ-like, which means you act like Christ and you've put on Christ, meaning you do what he does. He didn't have money on him. He didn't have guns, weapons, nothing, but he walked and allowed the Lord to guide him and bless him with the food that he needed, bless him with everything he needed. He had everything at his hands, like we do, because God is our supply. So all he had to do is ask. That's trust.
Right.
So now what we're doing and what we're doing in this country is we're not trusting. So we need to learn deeper trust, to let go of trying to control things.
Right.
And allow love, which means we talk to people in a kind, gentle, loving way, which means that we're thinking always the right thoughts about every single individual. And then God moves that person. When we pull the right strings in us,
Right.
We pull the right strings in everyone else.
Right.
Yeah, that's very profound, because I was just even reading one of your chapters, and you say, I will empower myself with kindness. And I love that, because when it says, when my mind is filled with love for myself, kindness will become second nature to me. It is the kindness that I give to another that brings those things I want to me. And that's beautiful. So that's saying that because you're trusting the way you treat yourself, the love, the energy, that vibration you're giving to yourself, you're going to get that back. And that's by trusting. You're being kind to yourself. You're extending out love and kindness to others. So you're getting that back. And I think what our societies, we're so busy looking outside of ourselves.
That's what I was thinking.
And that's where we get caught up. We're caught up in other people's problems. We're looking at, what the next person is doing. We're not focused on ourselves. We're not focused on especially the inner. We're just on the outside. Oh, I need this, whatever. I need these pair of shoes because everybody has them, or I'm focused on the wrong things, basically. And now we're focused to where it's like, we're competing against each other, and you feel like there's not enough, there's not there. Where's mine? Let me do this before someone else does this and that. When, contrary to all of that, it's such the opposite.
But there's a reason for that. And we have to understand that we all go through different stages in life. And that's the person still in their animalistic stage of life where they're selfish. And they can't see beyond. And we all go through that stage. So then we have to learn, there's where we have an understanding of how the mind works and how the body works, and how we can, when we become perfected in love, we can see where other people are at in their stage. And that's okay, because it's part of life, So it's just that we have to understand where somebody else is at. Then when we're perfected in love, we know where they're at. And then again, with us understanding them and reaching out to them, then we can pull them, help them, lift them up out of that stage. But how fast a person gets out of these different stages of life depends on the person and what they want out of life.
Exactly.
Well, the terms I was saying, but that's dangerous when people are in power and they have that mentality, and they think to pull someone out or to take something is by force, and by violence, or, things like that. So it's like, how do you reach somebody like that?
Well, that's interesting, because there's somebody else out there that will reach them, because there's adverse conditions that come back. So that's why we have war. It's because we want to use brute force. It's like abuse in the home. And what happens is a child is abused, and then if the child doesn't become consciously aware that that's wrong, then it becomes a habit with them, and they repeat what they've been taught because it's a learned behavior. So then this person believes, and that's why I don't believe in spanking anymore, because I realize this is the cause of it, is that how we get our way is we just beat a person, and then they act the way we want to. That's what spanking teaches. Okay, so when we spank our child is because we want them to do what we want them to do, and this is what, and so that's how, a man thinks, okay, well, I know how to I'll just beat her and she'll do what I want to do. But you see, then we have adverse conditions. We have people being hurt and harmed because they don't understand, like the parents didn't, how we talk to our child and teach them. See, we don't teach the child why they're not supposed to do it. We just tell them that don't do that, and then we spank them if they continue to do it, not realizing that there's a process that the child has to go through. We actually have to grow a new brain cell for every action that we do. Then it becomes a habit, then automatic. So there's a growth process in everything that we do.
And it's interesting, because I realizing that with my son, he's 13 years old, and certain things that are obvious to me, and he's very bright, he's very smart, so that for me sort of throws me off, because sometimes I'm thinking that he's understanding what I'm understanding, the way I'm understanding it. And when he'll ask a question to me, that's obvious, because sometimes he doesn't, sometimes he doesn't. So he'll ask a question, and I'm thinking, don't you know that? You don't understand that? He asked me something about something about my shirt today. He said, why did you iron that over there? Something, it was logistical or something. And I went, well, because that's over there. And I like, don't you, isn't that, but he when I answered the question, he said, "Oh," like he really didn't know. And that keeps happening with us. Like I said, he's only 13, and I have to remember he's only 13. So it's not that you're not asking the right question or you should know it.
Right.
It's wow, you really don't, and it's my position here to teach you and help you and be patient and help you through this and not make you feel bad for asking that question, because he probably, if I make him feel bad, he won't talk to me or he won't ask any question. You know, he won't feel free enough to do that. So I've been catching myself, but yeah, you're so right with that.
But that's the mistake all parents make, and that's where we get, and when the child gets into the teenage stage, is that's where we have this division between the parents, because the parent then is running down their child and creating a division. You have to understand, you know, I think we mentioned this last time, that you learned what you learned because you went through these stages. The child is not there and still doesn't know anything. They're still the infant stages. So they don't understand the cause and effect of life. So with every thought, there is a cause. So every action we do, there's also a cause, you know, an effect. And so they really don't understand why. So so the parent not realizing that the child still is learning, it expects them to know better, right? You should know better, but they don't know better. They haven't gone through what you've gone through. That's why you were at that position with your parents when you were a teenager. And so, again, we forget, the parents, when they get past that stage, forget, because we're long past it, what it's like to be at that mental stage of still growing and not knowing anything of why we do things. So, and this is where we have the division of parents, and this, I mean, between parents and teenagers. And then parents wonder why the teenagers going out to do drugs and alcohol. It's because you're running them down, you're calling them names, you're, you know, telling they're stupid, and they don't know. And so what it is that they're out there looking for something to drown out your voice of calling them names or running them down or hitting them or belittling them or spanking them. And so they turn to something else, something that will give them a comfort that they look for from somebody who says they love them, but then they're beating them. The actions and the words do not come together. Just like in God we trust. On the dollar, on the, you know, on the money, and then the actions of that we're doing is
not trusting him at all.
No, not at all.
So earlier, you know, you were talking about how it's basically it's an to grow for growth and to trust. It's an individual thing, right? So I'm interested in in you. What's your background and how did you get over to here? Because you weren't always an author, correct? And what made you make that leap? And you had a background in television.
Yes, over 30 years in television, working on the soap operas. And yes, well, it's funny because when I was growing up, I was a lot of things happening in my family. And when I was 9 years old, I felt myself in this really deep hole. And I used to curl up behind the furnace that we had and cry all day. So I felt myself in this hole. I was like, and I realized it at that age. It's like, how do I get out of this hole?
Wait, how old were you?
9.
Wow.
And so I read the Bible through twice at 9 years old, and then at 10 because I wanted the answers. You know, I heard my sister talking about the Bible, and I went hunting for an old Bible that my grandfather had in the trunk out in the garage. And so I studied, and I've always wanted to know about, you know, what this world is that they're talking about, and that's why all the letters of God and that. So anyway, then I heard on the radio that we only use 10% of our mind, and that always stuck in my head. And so that's why I always really wanted to be a neurologist, because I wanted to know why people thought the way they did. Why did people act the way they did? Anyway, so when The Secret came out, and I was like, whoa. So I started grabbing all these books, 1700s, 1800s. I mean, I read hundreds of books and studying. But then not only studying, you have to take that leap. And it was that trust. It's like, let me see if what they're saying is true, you know, because heaven is my goal. I'm there now. Is my goal. I didn't want anything else in life. Just, I want to make it to heaven. I want this that I heard about, that God created from the beginning. That's mine. So I was like, when the V came in, you know, Y in the road, I guess, for my career. I'll tell you about that because they didn't like me at work because I was positive. They always used to
I know the feeling.
pick me really bad.
I know the feeling.
Then when I asked, why don't the guy said, we don't like you. I said, well, but I can't figure out why. He says, because you never had a bad day. He has not lived a day in my life. And the only thing I could say to him was, thank you. Yeah. Because if I can show you love and kindness, regardless of what I have been through, and you have no idea.
Yes.
Then I'm doing. Yes. Then I know that I'm doing right. Yes. And that's what I always wanted to do is give the light. It's not about what I went through. Right. It's about how did I come over that. Right. Yes. Then how can I help you to come out of that. Right. So I start. I read so much. I read so much of these books. Yeah. For a person who didn't like to read, growing up, couldn't stop it. So anyway. That's what I did is I took that I started, okay, Father, let me let go of what I want and what do you want? And it took a couple years, but the answer came, these books. And so at night, I'm up writing the words that are coming in my head, just writing everything down. I'm like, who's going to buy this? And I'm writing and writing and writing and writing, and I have a lot of manuscripts and a lot of books written. And then then you ask, well, how does this work? How does this work? And so God takes you through things to show you. But anyway, I took that leap of trust, and I said, well, let me find out, what can I lose? So I started changing, myself. And renewing the mind, which is a subconscious mind, is what the Bible talks about. You renew the mind, and it's a subconscious mind. So then I started and worked, a lot of hard work, years of work, because it took years of you believing one way, so you had to believe truth.
Oh, boy. Yes.
And so things started changing. As a matter of fact, when I started telling myself I love myself, all the time, which I tell everybody, and I've written an entire book teaching people about this, I started feeling changes in my body. And I know which part of your nerves and the vessels that belong to love, hope, and the whole left side is. I know why people have heart attacks. It's because they don't feel that they're loved. Wow. They don't feel that anybody loves them. They can't see it. And the self-degradation is just, I can't speak enough of how the damaging that does. That's why I have the chapters in my book that I do. So, and then when I started feeling the change in my body, and then the changes in my life, and then like the inner changes, that world, which is talks about in the Bible, that passes away, and you cross over into a different world, and that veil falls away, and you see things, and I'm telling you, you see everybody's thoughts. You see what's going on.
And you can have it here on earth. Yes. You can live in the kingdom of heaven here on earth.
That's what Jesus said. It's within us. It's not a place of observation.
Right.
It's within us, and that's that. Everything that's talking about in the Bible about renewing the mind and think what you're supposed to think about, the things that are just and honest and pure. Yeah. That's exactly what it is. Wow. So trust now is just like you have to develop it, just like athlete develops muscles, anything else. So you just go a little further and a little further. And it's funny because I realized there's a point where, you see in your life the next step. So then there's a point when you let go of all that, what you knew, and you go in another direction, you don't see anything. You see this black. So it's like, okay, it's like this black wall. And then you wonder, okay, what's on the other side of that wall? It's like, okay, well, I'm going to bust through it or whatever. But it's when we get to that point, that's why I have a post that says, life is like driving in the fog. You don't see the next step until you're up there to that point. Right. So people panic when they don't have a plan for the next day or the next, we panic when we see this wall and we can't see past it. Right. But then that's where you need to trust. And then you start, after you learn this trust, you start visualizing what you want to happen next. Right. And it opens up. Wow. Which is so funny. So, and then I realized the fable about Alabama. It's like, open sesame, the wall. It's exactly what it is. Wow. So you get to that point and you just say, open sesame. Right. and it happens. Opens up.
Right.
Opens up. Exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's, because that can sound foreign to a lot of people, because people they're not consciously really thinking like that. It's like, well, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? And it's an awareness you really have to sit down. And sometimes it's through, situations that people go through, relationships failed or, health or things like that, to where you start questioning your own mortality. And then it can open up to know those thoughts of like, how can I be healed? How can I have peace? How can I be happy? You know, and it's like, then we have to discover, we have to go within. And I think that is where our society,
you know why? I think people are stuck in the disappointments.
Yeah.
They're either stuck in the disappointments or won't move because they feel they will be disappointed. And that's just a part of life, though. You know, being so-called disappointed is a part of your journey.
Yeah.
You know, because it tells you, okay, maybe it's not that way you're supposed to go. Maybe you're supposed to go this way. Maybe you're not supposed to do that. But I agree with you. I think people just hover in that certain space.
But the reason why they hover is they continually think about those thoughts. And then that's what I call a mental state. Those thoughts are a mental state where a person's locked. They can't see beyond it. Literally, they have no conscious awareness beyond that point. And so that's where they stay. And that's where they don't grow past. So you're wondering how the person gets there. And that's disappointment is something you should never allow, because once you allow yourself to be disappointed and you allow yourself to continue, that's where depression comes in so fast. And the majority of people can't get themselves out of that state. So we only get disappointed is because we don't think something's happening for us, and we want it now instead of allowing it to grow into fruition, just like a plant. And I refer to, and I have an exercise in my book to tell people to plant things so that they can understand the growth process. So we know we have a seed in the ground, and everybody who's listening, if you're not haven't planted anything before or grown anything, I suggest that you plant something so you understand that it takes time. And then it comes up a little sprout, and then it comes, a little further, and then it comes, like a tree goes into big tree before it starts producing fruit, so everything happens in its time. And notice, everything came from nothing into the visible world. Notice, your thoughts are actually creating, it's the seed that's creating this plant of what you want to bring it out of the invisible world into the seen world. I mean, that is literally what is happening.
Yes, but we don't, collectively, we don't get that.
Right.
We don't get, you are really, just germinating right now, good or bad, what you are thinking and feeling.
Yes.
It is happening.
Right.
So that's why you're not surprised when you go, oh, I knew that was going to happen. Well, yeah.
That's right. Because you thought it.
Because you thought it and you grew it.
That's right. You, of course you know, because you saw it in your visualization is powerful. In your imagination, these are powers. People don't understand their powers. And so many people, and what happens too is, and the reason why we can allow our emotions to go over too high is because when we allow ourselves to get too excited, the adrenaline in our system drops it, and then we get into a deep depression. So that's why we have people who are considered schizophrenic who go into the highs and lows because they govern their life by emotion and not by thoughts. And so this is why it's important to tune into your thoughts, because your thoughts are what creates the emotion. When the thoughts from the conscious mind sink down into the subconscious mind and they believe it's truth, the subconscious mind's job is it translates it into emotions, passions, or feelings, and then that's what happens. So we have to be really in tune into what we allow ourselves to continually think about, or what our subconscious mind is continually thinking.
When you touched on emotions, that is a big key, especially, for women. And then, you see like a lot of the reality shows, all the dramas built on the emotions. Someone did this to you, so you got to act this way and react this way. And I know for myself, I'm very in tune to my emotions. And when I feel uneasy, or if I feel something that's not right, I meditate. I go be one with myself. I figure out why am I feeling this way, and I want it gone, and I want to think or rationalize or think about, okay, where's this coming from, and so meditation is a big help for me. It really helps. And I think, people that, should look into it who are interested, or there's people that do it, but I think it's a good way to get a handle on your emotions, because that way you can figure out, where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this way? Why am I thinking this way? And it goes back to your thoughts, because that's where it starts. You're thinking certain things that have led you to feeling this way. And then how can you get that under control? Because so many people, some people are out of control with their emotions and their feeling. They live everything off to their sleeve. You touch them or you bump into them or whatever, and it's like everything comes out. And it's really. Yeah.
And that's what my books teach, how to control your emotions, passions, and feelings, and how the mind works, because you have to have an understanding of how your body works. How does your mind work? Why are you feeling this? Is because your subconscious mind, it's those impressions that are deep down in your subconscious mind, that those thoughts that you believe are truth. Yeah. And this is a rule of thumb. If you're having feelings of anger, jealousy, hatred, fear, sorrowful, your thoughts are incorrect. Okay, you're out of harmony with, and I write this in my books, you see this everywhere, you're out of harmony with yourself, with others, and with the universe. When you're happy and, in feeling love, happiness, or any of those positive, courageous, those positive, you're in harmony with yourself, others, and the universe. So it is because your spirit is pure positive. Yeah. So when I say in harmony, you're in harmony with that positive of your spirit, which can't be anything negative. Wow. So that's why your emotions are positive. And when we're thinking in harmony with unhappy, with our spirit, we are treating other people with that same kindness and that love, which then the effect of that is the good. Our life is being built up. We're adding value. So they give back that same reception. So notice, in the opposite, it also works. So when you're thinking negative and you call names to people, they're going to call those names back. Yeah. Because, again,
it's a good barometer for your own self.
Exactly.
I mean, and rightfully so, because we have so much power within ourselves. We can each individually change our lives today. I mean, like right now, you know what I mean? You have that power to decide within yourself which way this train is going to go.
Right.
That's right. But people don't get that. No. They don't understand their own divinity.
That's why in my book I teach you about the power. I explain, I said, now that force, because this is the thing, people don't understand that energy inside them. Yes. You have complete control over that energy. Yes. So I tell people, I give them exercises. Slap your hand on the desk really hard, then do it soft. You see, you have that power. Yeah. And then I teach people words. Okay, go through these words and see. And then I tell them, go test them out on people. Say these words to people and see what you're going to react. And say these words with people and with this tone of voice and see how they react. So, and then I tell people, stomp up the stairs and then go up the stairs gently so that they know that they're in complete control of the force in them. But you see, they don't understand that. And until we teach people about what is going on inside, they have no idea. Absolutely. They have no idea how somebody does something. I remember one time something happened in my marriage, and I was like, what am I supposed to do with all this energy? How am I supposed to, because usually I'm just quiet and I talk and I don't say anything. I just allow things to happen. And so I'm like, what are you supposed to do? And this is where it's like, how do we deal with these emotions that we have? Because some of those emotions we can have so powerful. But all we have to do is change the way what our thinking is at that moment. And then we change that emotion. We know that we can do it because we do it all the time unconsciously. People are crying and somebody comes and says something, and then you start laughing, right? You change your thoughts.
Can change, so true. Yeah. And that's why when you mention relationships, marriage, and all that, where trust is concerned, I want to talk a little bit about that too, with relationships, in terms of trust.
We can take a quick break and come back and talk about that.
I would like to get into that.
That'd be great. Okay, we'll be right back.
Did you know that your skin is your body's largest organ? And you should be aware of what you're applying to it. The more natural products you use, the better. The best place to start is with Did It for Love handmade natural body products, made with pure organic ingredients. Our Shea Body Butter Moisturizer is whipped to perfection and hydrates dry, cracked skin and protects from UV rays. Did It for Love Shea Body Butter Moisturizer is infused with essential oils. You can choose from scents like lavender, vanilla and sandalwood, white rose, and many more. Our deodorant has a fresh scent that not only works against odor, but also reduces sweat. With this toxin-free deodorant, you can feel fresh and confident all day long. You can also keep your lips healthy and kissable with our handmade lip balms, in healing and fruity scents like tantalizing peppermint to sensational green apple. Our products promote healthy, youthful-looking skin, and is safe for the whole family, vegan-friendly, cruelty-free, and gentle enough for cancer survivors and those going through treatment. Go to diditforlove.com today. Did It for Love, toxin-free for your whole family.
Welcome back to It's Time to Talk. We're having just an amazing discussion, part 2, like I said, with Delia Ramsey. It's been great. Deidre, before we went to the break, you were posing a question.
Yeah, I was just, we were talking about trust, and I wanted us to at least touch on relationships because, you know, especially with women, you know, we trust, we go in with our hearts wholeheartedly, you know, so we trust, we give our all, you know, things like that. And when maybe we need to take our time and look a little deeper, go a little deeper and really find out. And I love what you always say, Delia, is it someone's divine, God's divine design for you? Yes. The person in your life that you're with.
Is it God's divine design for your life?
Well,
is that what you said?
Yes. So now when we're asking for a mate, okay, is this mate God's divine design in your life? Or is this somebody who, now if you're with somebody and you're breaking up with them and back together, of course, now if you think that's going to change after you're married, no. So just know that if you're breaking up together, you know that's not a relationship that's right. If there's any fighting, arguing going on, we know that that's not right because again, if we're asking God to bring his divine design of a mate to you, then you know that relationship is one that's made in heaven, not made on earth. This is when God puts a man and wife together. No one can put asunder because this is who God has for you. And you know you're compatible because, first of all, both of you are being guided by God instead of by yourself. And then their trust is easy because, first of all, your trust is in God, right? And first of all, you've trust in yourself and you trust in God to bring him to you, the one that you're supposed to be with. So then everything falls together because, first of all, you allow that person to be who that person is. It's between him and God, not between you and God. So for any mate to try and change any mate, that's you trying to create your ideal in a woman that you created, want. You know what I mean? If you don't know the type of woman you want, what a man and what women do is they pick a person and then they try to change them into an ideal that they don't even know that the person that they want. And then this is where we have friction, and this is where a relation will not work out. So when you just wait, be patiently, just work on yourself because it's all that inside, that within, that world within is what you need to change. When you work on that and become perfected in love, as Jesus talks about, that relationship can't be anything but the ideal relationship that God designed for a man and a woman at the beginning of time. And if you're not looking for that, well, then you know.
And I think people maybe get to their 4th and 5th and 6th marriage before they even start realizing that, because I just feel like no shade or nothing about anybody out there. Just I just think that because I think it comes with maturity, perhaps, because when you're young, you're looking like, ooh, look at his pecs, and girl, he's tall, and and he's looking at a different set of things, and at some point. You're going to have to go within, which takes time and patience, lessons. And people don't want to be patient like that.
Well, that's the thing, though. What are you looking at? His outside. And you're thinking that on the outside or what he owns, and so then you're not in love with the person. I'm just telling you right now. If you're looking at the pecs, you're looking at the body, and you're, or looking at what he owns, you're not going into the relationship. It will not work. I'm going to tell you right now. I don't care how hard you try, it won't work. What a person
foundation.
No, not at all. Because if that goes away, you're gone.
You're gone, right? Exactly.
So as soon as those pecs are gone,
I'm out.
Man.
Peace.
As soon as the woman, she's got all this makeup on and looking fine and all these clothes.
That part.
Take off those false eyelashes.
Take that wig off.
Take off,
take that corset off. That girdle.
Like that one movie. Remember that movie? Is I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
I'm Gonna Get You Sucker.
Anna Marie Horsford. No,
God.
not Horsford. The other one. The other Anna Marie. And she took off. She had a wig on. She took it off. She had even a fake leg.
Yes.
She stripped all the way down.
Yes. She was like a broke down mannequin by the time she took off all that stuff.
And so then what do you have left? Because that inner beauty, and then on top of that is the reason why the man or the woman can't continue to attract the person is because they're pushing them away with all this name calling and degrading and criticizing and nagging and belittling and no relation. You're actually repelling a person. So the attracted force now, the law of attraction is the law of love. Okay, which you can say is the law of God because God is love, which is the same thing, right?
Right.
Yes.
So if you're not attracting by your kindness, your love, your gentleness, by allowing this person to be who God wants him to be, it's not for you to tell this person or govern this person what he's already governed. This person can govern themselves.
That's
It's
right.
not for the man to govern or to control the woman to make them. They're already governed by God. So if that's God's divine design for you, then you know that God's already got it taken care of. Everything that this woman is supposed to be doing is already taken care of.
Right.
You just, you're supposed to be enhancing each other's life. You come into a person's life to enhance it, not to degrade it, run it down, belittle it, curse it, go out and talk about your relationship to everybody but the person you're with. That's just,
That's
you
a-
know.
yeah, that's a big one.
That's huge.
Because my thing was like, how would someone know, a young woman or just women out there who are looking for their mates? How would they know when the right one comes along?
Oh, they know. If they're looking, waiting for God to bring it, they'll know. There's just no denying that fact.
Okay.
Now, if you're out there trying to, well, is this one, let me go, to this, or, oh, he's cute, oh, girl, he's cute, but if you're just looking at that, you're not looking at how he treats you, and a lot of women is like, well, he's cute, he's this, but how is he treating you?
Right.
He's not treating you right. He doesn't love you.
Right.
You cannot give what you do not possess. If you don't possess love for yourself, you can't give it.
That's key.
So he's treating you how he feels about himself, and understand that.
That's powerful. I love it. And that's
So
where it starts,
powerful.
loving yourself. And I know when you and I met, I loved it because, you were such a reminder to me and things that I had fallen off from doing or just got busy in the work. And then when you start telling me again, like, just say, I love myself every day. And I just
So
started
simple.
doing, so simple. And I just started doing that. And it has just really opened up, changed my world. Just, how I look at myself, what I think about now. I'm more conscious of my thoughts. There's so many things. And the things that I'm attracting now are just beautiful, because it's how I feel about me. It's what I'm saying about me and what I'm thinking about me. And it's just been phenomenal. So
It may
I thank
be
you.
an easy thing, you're welcome, easy thing to do, but the most hardest thing for a person to do when they haven't been taught how to do that because it's foreign, so you want to reject it. A person who's been treated with, it took me a long time, it's like to do that. And then that's part of this trust of going into that and to, going into the kingdom of loving yourself. It's actually loving God with all your heart, mind, and soul, which people don't know. So it's hard for people. I met a woman, I was trying to teach her that. She goes, no, that's not, I shouldn't be saying that because that doesn't make me humble. I'm supposed to be telling myself that I hate myself. And because she gets that from her husband, and her husband being, she got it from growing up.
Wow.
But you see, but that's how...
That pattern she's stuck
right,
in
and so that's what we taught to believe, and that's the mental state that she's locked into, and until something happens that helps her to change it, she'll continue to do that, which will the fighting and everything else will continue to happen in her life, or she'll be continuing to try to hurt herself because that's what part of it's about, right? Hurting ourselves.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm feeling that we deserve it.
Wow. And we don't.
No, we don't.
Nobody
No,
out
no.
there does.
Nobody
It's
does.
all about loving yourself and pouring into yourself and recognizing your power and going within because that's where God is. He's in us. How are you breathing? It's God.
Yes.
We trust the sun to come up in the morning.
Yep.
We trust that the earth is rotating on its axis. I mean, and we're not going to just go off into oblivion, into space somewhere. We trust that, right? You don't go to bed and say, oh God, I pray the sun comes up. And no, you say, okay, let me get to work. Let me have my coffee. Let me do this. Let me do that. We don't say anything about these things that we take for granted.
It goes deeper than that, and I write in my book about trust is that you go out to a restaurant, you trust that that food is kosher for you to eat.
Yes.
You go and get drinks from the store, and you're going to just drink it without even a thought.
Right.
Yes.
You're going to get in your car
Not
and
a
you're going to, drive. So
it's
why
all
is
about
it?
trust?
Exactly.
We are running out of time yet
are.
again. How
Oh
does
my
this
gosh.
happen?
Delia, give us your information. How can people
Please.
reach you? Get your
Please.
book.
I
Just
think
get it
that-
on out there.
I think you can buy my book, I Will Empower Myself, An Adult's Guide to Life or Teen's Guide to Life on Barnes & Nobles, Amazon, BAM, wherever books are sold. You can probably the best ways to get in touch with me is Facebook, Instagram, Delia Ramsey or at Delia Ramsey, or Delia Ramsey _Delia Ramsey on Twitter and Instagram.
Wonderful.
Awesome.
Well, thank you so much
Yes,
yet again.
Delia.
I feel like we have to have a part 3
I know.
now. It's just
we may very
go
well.
on and on.
Yes.
Thank you so much for tuning in to It's Time to Talk, and follow us.
Yes, like us.
You know
follow
how to
us.
get us. Come on
Yes.
now. It's time to talk.
Remember, your conversation is your affirmation.
Much love to you, and trust.